Before the break, we showed you all of the gruesome details about the administration's immigration policies and also the conditions at the detention facilities along the border. Well, the American Civil Liberties Union, they're battling the government on many immigration fronts. And joining me now, Lee Gelernt. He's the deputy director of the ACLU's Immigrant Rights Project. A lot to cover here, Lee, but first let's start off where much of the attention was last week and still is, some of the conditions at those detention facilities along the border. I know your chapter of Texas and also the Border Rights Center of your organization, they've been talking about this for a long time to try and bring some attention to it. The administration is basically saying they should be grateful for what they have. Media is making much ado about nothing. Give us your perspective.
Yeah, we've been concerned about conditions in immigration detention centers for some time now, and have been calling on people to fix it. But I think things are now really qualitatively worse. What we're seeing in these centers in Texas and Florida is really astonishing. And there are doctors there, there are numerous lawyers, there have been Congress people. For the administration to deny that the conditions are bad, I think sort of belies reality. And we need to fix it. There's just no excuse in the United States for treating children or adults like this.
Lee, this next question, answer it in kind of a way as if you would to a first-year law student, in that there have seemed to be, and not limited just to immigration issues or in dealings with the organizations involved with, but so many subpoenas that are ignored, court orders that are basically turned with the side of the hand, even the child separation policies that were ordered to stop by the court and also mandated to reunify the families seem to have been ignored by the administration. It's almost as if there's not any checks and balances or this idea that we have a separation of powers. They're still separating families, as an example, but on a broader level, where's the enforcement when the court says you're doing something wrong, fix it or stop doing it, that the administration seems to basically do whatever they want?
Yeah, we're in a dangerous situation here where we have an administration that is trying to find any way around court orders rather than saying, look, the court has said what we're doing is unlawful. We need to stop it. And on family separation in particular, there shouldn't have needed to be a court order to say don't take little babies away. But once the court did that, now for the administration to be trying to find loopholes around it, I mean, we're looking at hundreds and hundreds of families who are still being separated, and there's just no excuse for it. And I think you're raising a broader question that other people are raising as well, as, where is this administration's respect for the rule of law? I think they ought to be doing everything to say we're going to fix this rather than we're going to have our lawyers try and find ways around court orders.
The president tweeted something, and I want to give you a chance to respond. And you can almost excise from this morality, ethics, whatsoever, but just on a factual basis. The president tweeted, if you really want to fix the crisis at the southern border, both humanitarian and otherwise, tell migrants not to come into our country unless they're willing to do so legally and hopefully through a system based on merit. This way we have no problems at all. First of all, aren't a lot of these folks, and I was down at the border, Lee, they are legally pursuing asylum, and they're going through the right avenues. Yes, there are some illegal crossings. I'm not saying those don't exist, but the idea that everyone who wants to come into the country is illegal for attempting to do so, that's not factually true. Absolutely right.
You're putting your finger on it. So many of these people are fleeing desperate situations, so they can't not come. If you're a parent with a young child and you're threatened with death, you're coming. That's what families and parents have done throughout history. And you're absolutely right. They are presenting themselves and asking to apply legally for asylum. And what the administration's doing is saying, well, maybe we'll give you a hearing, but it'll be after you wait months and months in dangerous conditions in Mexico, unsanitary conditions. Sometimes they're not even getting the hearings. And so for the administration to say, oh, everything's fine, just come lawfully, is not accurate. It doesn't square with the facts on the ground, as you said.
You know the latest concern I'm sure your organization's dealing with, the administration's threatened to deport as many as 1 million people. Forgetting logistically, most say that's impossible. Nonetheless, there is a green light to ICE to go for it. What is your expectation as to what could come down, the level of participation? Do you think it'll vary community by community? And what are you telling people that are concerned within the states?
Yeah, it's very tricky because we do not know whether it's actually going to happen. So you don't want to cause panic unnecessarily. But on the other hand, we've seen what this administration's willing to do. So we're taking steps to educate people. We're making sure that we have people on the ground. I have tried to organize the big law firms around the country to get out and make sure that what's happening is lawful, because we're concerned about a couple of things. We're concerned about the nature of the raids. Are they going to violate the Constitution by barging in without warrants, maybe guns drawn with little kids? We've seen that before. But then we're also concerned that these families are going to be deported without due process. Many of them will have claims to stay here, but we're worried the administration intends to rush them out before they can get hearings. And so on a number of levels, and it's also creating real stress, toxic stress throughout these immigrant communities. The children and families are just worried every day about people barging into their houses. And so I think when the administration says, look, we're only going after hardened criminals, gang members, national security threats, it's just not true. They're now openly saying we're going to go after families.
And it has a million different consequences, including things like the census, et cetera. Lee, I wish you the best of luck, and I thank you for your time as always.
Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody, we also have new developments on those nearly 24 undocumented immigrants who have been fired from Trump golf courses and facilities in New York and New Jersey. Files One's Ray Ramundi, he's been covering the story since the beginning, and he joins us now with more.
Sandra Diaz is one of the 21 former undocumented Trump Organization employees who recently penned and signed this letter, calling for a face-to-face meeting with the president, hoping it will help to transform immigration here in America.
It's really important for us in front of him and say, please, don't fire any more people. It's time for these good people working for many years and need immigration reform.
In the letter, the former Trump employees say, quote, we are writing to respectfully request a meeting with you. They go on to say, quote, you know many of us and will recall how hard we worked for you, your family, and your golf clubs.
My clients believe that they know him so well and that deep inside, President Trump has a heart and he'll listen to them, and hopefully this could be the beginning of change in this country.
Annabelle Romero now represents 39 of those former undocumented Trump Organization employees who were unexpectedly terminated starting late last year. Those Trump Organization workers were employed at Trump properties across New York, New Jersey, and even at a winery in Virginia. In the letter sent to the White House, those former Trump Organization employees also stated, quote, you know we are hard workers and that we are not criminals or seeking a free ride in America. They go on to say, quote, we love America and want to talk to you about helping to give us a chance to become legal. The White House Office of Presidential Correspondence sent this response saying, quote, we are carefully reviewing your message. The former Trump employees hope it will go further than a review, as they hope a proposed meeting will be the catalyst for American immigration reform. Ray Ramundi, Fios One News.
Up next, the intriguing case of a Navy SEAL acquitted of murder, even though an ISIS prisoner was killed while in his custody and his fellow Navy SEALs turned him in. This one has everything: a witness that flipped, the president getting involved, and more. A former JAG and military judge will join us next.